And oh my god, it looks horrible. I told the guys I forgot to mess with my overlay. And I'll fix that real quick. But hey, everybody, welcome to Fun Speculation Podcast. This is new, again, second week in a row. New day, new time, new format here. We actually have made an addition to the panel because of 3-Bit's nightlife on Friday nights and his party type attitude. He's no longer available usually on Fridays, and he convinced me to move our show again, even though we had just moved it to Monday, so that way he could take part in some of the fun speculation activities, which I was more than happy to do so, because you know what we love? We love us some 3-Bit. That's what
his name was Mark.
His name Mark. We love us some Mark. Now, also, like, Jasper was on the show last week, and I don't think you were official panelist last week.
You asked me after.
Yeah, right after. I was like, okay, this works. You know, that it was a great fit. And so, hey, oh my god, I don't know if you all can hear that, but with the new panel, we're here. Fuzzy is here as always, and I'm super happy to have this show on. We're gonna try this out for a while, see how it goes. Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern, and go from there. I know there's a couple big shows coming on in an hour or two, so we're kind of maybe be a little prelude into them for everybody. And we're gonna talk about some this on this show. For those that aren't aware, on Fun Speculation, we talk about all consoles. You know, we'll talk about Nintendo, we'll talk about PlayStation and Xbox and PC gaming and whatever else. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate you, chat. But we'll get to the panel. Hey, we'll get to Fuzzy first because he's the OG FSP member. What's up, Fuzzy? How you doing?
Not too bad. Great. Glad to be here. Glad to have Jasper and 3-Bit on here as well. Man, just watching Twitter self-destruct to some extent. So looking forward to some additional news that we're going to be discussing as well. But man, oh man, the gaming space as far as Twitter and other social media, it's been entertaining. So looking forward to these topics today.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun talking about that for sure. And also the other stuff, because there's some other cool stuff to talk about. Now, 3-Bit, thanks for being here, man. You look all nice and clean in your white tee, looking spiffy. How you doing?
Glad to be here. I'm all right. I'm decent. I just got off of work, and we are gearing up for a couple commercials and stuff. I had to chase a frog around my house. Not sure how it got in my house. So I was doing that, and I'm excited to be on FSP. I think it's the only show I haven't been on your channel, maybe.
It is, because you were a guest on PM and the PM 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. It's PM. Yeah.
Well, and have you done tidbits with us? Well, I haven't done tidbits in like over a month, but
maybe like once.
Yeah, I know you did Mav and Fancy Show when we had that.
Yeah.
I think you did that once too. But that only lasted
glad
like
to be
3
here
weeks.
with Fuzzy. I think I was just talking about stage with Fuzzy. I don't think I've been on a show with him besides like maybe we did a show on my channel a while ago. So I think that was done. Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, I'm glad you're here, and you're going to be part of FSP going forward, man. Excited. Get all of your thoughts about all the consoles and everything. You are a Switch lover as well, so it'll be interesting to get some of your thoughts. Jasper, the lore master, who always gets us the right information when it's needed at the most crucial times. How are you doing, sir?
Doing all right. I've just been kind of hopping around between games, looking for something to catch my attention recently. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, you've been backlogging.
Yeah, pop back into Battlefield, kind of waiting for the big update to come out, see what that plays like. Popped into Halo, just bouncing around.
When is the Battlefield update supposed to hit?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Okay.
Yeah.
I played it like 2 days ago. It still played fine for me. I mean, it was like...
Yeah, I just want to see how like drastic the change is going to be.
Well, I wonder if I'll even notice.
Yeah.
Because usually like all these updates, like, oh, we have huge patch 4.0 coming out. It's going to have all of these fixes and stuff. and it's like everything that the community's been asking for and more, and they release it, and I'm like, cool. It seems like the same thing that I didn't have any problem with it before. I don't have any problem with it now, But like, I guess there's people that are really look for these things, and it really bothers them if they find it. You know what I mean? So it's probably more for that audience, and for me, who's just gonna dive into a match and see how many guys I can kill. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, hey guys, we got, like you were mentioning, Fuzzy, the internet exploded. We'll get into this first and get it out of the way. David Jaffe, famous game dev, responsible for creating games like God of War, Twisted Metal, and more for PlayStation back in the day. Had some things, I guess, that some people took into, didn't like what he said, but I mean, he even had to respond to this, but because of the things that he said, he was invited on a podcast, and those guys kind of unnecessarily like yelled at him on a show. It was kind of strange, and then he issued a rebuttal, showing the evidence of everything that they were saying was kind of BS. And I don't want to get into like a bunch of like warring console war type BS stuff that a lot of those people take into account, but like, I just want to talk about two things regarding this. I want to talk about God of War Ragnarok, if his original viewpoint on it holds any weight, which personally I think it does. Not necessarily using the word DLC maybe is what triggers some people, but also, are we expecting this game to be this year or next year? Now that is the debate that I am looking forward to.
You changed my opinion on it the other day with your tweet.
Did I?
Yeah, I was like
Okay.
2023 camp, and then you put out your tweet, and I was like, maybe it is 2022.
Yeah, I can name you 10 different reasons why I have no issue saying that I think God of War Ragnarok is 2022. And I think that there's a lot of people that are saying, oh, it's 2023, it's 2023, just because like it's kind of been the MO for them to delay these games, and it's a big game and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, well, I guess we'll start with you first. So what were you originally thinking about that? And
I don't know,
date?
like thinking back on it, like I don't know why I was in the 2023 camp. It's just like it seemed like something that was natural. It was like, yeah, it's going to be pushed to 2023. But then like thinking about the game, like technically, like game wise, it's not like much different than the old game. It's just like better graphics, but they're using the same animations and all that and the same characters, so they don't have to do too much extra work. So I could see like the schedule being like fine at coming out in 2022.
Yeah. And originally this game was supposed to be a launch game for the PS5.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it was marketed as originally.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah.
the main reason it was pushed back was actually health issues from the main cast member, the guy who plays KhAos. I can't think, it's Christopher Judge, I think is his name.
Yeah.
No, that's is it? I thought that was the mocap, one of the mocap dudes.
No, I think it's Christopher Judge.
The mocap guy had some other issues.
Yeah, but this
Judge
guy,
was...
he even issued a big apology to the fan base on Twitter, taking the blame for the delay.
Oh yeah, you're right. It is
of God of War Ragnarok, and then everybody's like, "Yeah, no problem, man." Like, and he was up front, and he felt bad. And honestly, if that stuff had happened, we probably would have already seen this game come out, right? So for me, that's another reason why. So what do you think, 3-bit? You think in 2022? You think in 2023? Because 90% of people out there are convinced that this game is not going to hit holiday 2022.
Yeah. I was in the boat of 2023, but just thinking about what's actually in the game and what I've seen, and we could talk about the DLC stuff in a bit, but like, I think based on the work that they potentially have for this game this year. But yeah, I'm in the 2022 camp now just because of a little bit of your post, but also looking around the nets and just seeing what is possibly left of this game. So
I think that some people like maybe want it to be delayed for some reason, just so PlayStation doesn't have anything this holiday, So it's like wishful thinking from them. That's like, well, Xbox is going to have complete dominance again because PlayStation's not gonna have anything for the holiday 2 years in a row.
Mhm.
Fuzzy, 2022, 2023. What do you think?
See, I was one of those knuckleheads that thought it was going to be 2021. And the only reason why I say that is, and it's not to shade it as DLC,
Yeah.
but I kind of thought it was going to be a smaller experience, kind of like the way Miles Morales was to the 2018 version of Spider-Man. So I was fully under the impression that it would launch. Now it didn't make sense considering they had Miles Morales as a launch title and stuff, but I just kind of assumed that it would have been within that time frame, given the issues that Judge had as far as his back and having the surgeries and things like that.
Mhm.
It totally makes sense that they had to postpone things, because if he's going to be the voice of KhAoS, you're going to need him to be fully healthy and not,
Yeah.
wincing or groaning in the background because of his pain. But I think 2022, even though it's not their normal MO to have something around that time frame, I mean, I would say if they're going to stick to like their normal window, would be like September, October. Although I can't imagine them wanting to leave that gap to third party during the holidays, considering, not that Xbox has surpassed them in any way, but the market share that they're gaining or closing in on, I can't imagine that they're going to want to leave that open. If the game is complete and ready, I could see them releasing it, September, October, but to postpone it further, if it's completed, I think would be a slight misstep considering,
Yeah.
what will be on the shelves, what will be talked about, what games will be out, and things like that. You're going to want to have people buzzing about your console beyond those that already want it, to have those under the tree type of thing. But yeah, I'm thinking 2022. Just it makes more sense, I think, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, 2022, when they showed it last time, because before they showed it to us last time, I didn't have an opinion on this, right? I would have been like, yeah, probably 2023. Everybody's saying that, but then when I saw what they showed with their like reveal, like, damn, this thing looks just like God of War. It looks up maybe a little bit better graphics, and it also looks like it's pretty polished from what I'm seeing, because they didn't just show like one extended clip. They showed like cut up clips from different parts of the game also, which makes me think, okay, they're taking these segments from different aspects. So it's not just one vertical slice. You know what I mean? And when they showed that, and it looked as polished as it was, and that it looks like the same. Now, I'm not saying the same game as in like it's going to be the same game, but it doesn't look like it's a whole new build of something. It's like it's the traditional model that people would use to make a sequel on a game,
Yeah.
right? You make it this, you spend like 10 years building something, and then you built it. Now you take that creation and you have all of these tools at your disposal, and you're able to get out something a lot quicker the next time around, right? That's part of your investment in building it in the first place. And it can be like an original plan of having like a 2-game series or a 3-game series, right? Or whatever. And now, who knows exactly if they had anticipated this to be go for a sequel after that. Maybe they were waiting to see how the reboot did, but when they saw it was successful, it's like, okay, you got to think that's God of War 2 2018. And if they were shooting for this to be a launch title for PS5, that's only 2 years after, right? You're talking about only a 2-year window to get this next version out. That is not a normal dev cycle for a super huge, massive game like this. Like, remember, it took God of War 2018, it took them like almost 10 years to make that game, right? So when originally we were thinking it's going to be 2020, they may have been lying. They knew it wasn't going to happen. But if that was the original intention, that kind of gave me an idea of the scope they were going for, right? The scope, plus also when we saw the gameplay reveal, it's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it's going to be more of that. And I think that when Jappy used the word DLC, that triggered some people, because I get what he's saying. It looks like DLC, like, and it looks like it's expanding on what already exists, right? In a new way. But we saw that with several franchises. Like we saw with Tomb Raider, You know, we've seen it with Halo multiple times.
Yeah, I just think like if you look back at like the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood like Ezio collection, like those games came out within like 5 years. It's like the same game, but like that was like 10 years ago. So like maybe times are like we're just seeing like a change in like how culture like
people's
exists for gaming.
expectations. Yeah, but people
they just
can't
want
like
new and like
you
completely
can't, like,
redone games.
You can't take
every
10 years to make every damn game, right? Like, and that's what it's. Some people are like, we need the content now. We need it now. We need it now. We need it now. You look at what's going on with Halo Infinite. You know, we need this content now. They already said when it's coming, but they're like, no, we're gonna keep talking about how much it sucks that we don't have it now, even though we know when it's coming, right? And it's like,
yeah.
So people want everything now, but then they're not. But then they also want everything to be the latest and greatest and the biggest thing they've ever seen before, and be like the next big thing. And now, is God of War going to be Game of the Year potential? Probably so. If it's anything like God of War 2018, it's probably going to be like Game of the Year contender up there. And is that a bad thing that it's like 2018? I would say no. But also, I think that's also one of the reasons why I think it's more likely to come out in 2022, because it is very similar to that, right? It may be better in some ways, in some aspects, right? But it's also, they got to design it for the PS4 also. They can't use these PS5 only next-gen features of the SSD and all this stuff that they kept touting on this game. So they can't do too much different, right? So it's like, 2022 makes the most sense for me, unless there's some other kind of development snag, right? Unless there's some kind of hiccup, some kind of issue. I don't foresee any reason why they can't hit holiday 2022.
Maybe this original delay was because of the PlayStation 5, because like there's been reports of like it's harder to make games for the PlayStation 5, porting them over. So maybe that's like just what the original delay was.
Maybe
is them trying to get it to work on PlayStation 5.
Yeah, and this game was always originally planned as cross-gen, right?
Yeah.
Because
I mean, I've seen a lot of fanboys get upset about how other people are saying that it looks like DLC, and to say it's DLC, I would say is factually incorrect. At this stage in development, to say it looks like DLC is pretty valid, right?
Right.
Just because when you're looking at the game, it looks like it has the same sort of assets. And what Psycho said in chat is pretty right. Like back in 2019, Corey Barlog was saying that they had original plans to make for it to have DLC for after the 2018 release, but it was halted for being like way too ambitious. And I think that eventually did become Ragnarok. So yes, that puts it in a weird spot where yes, it was like probably planned to be DLC.
That would be like Halo 3 DLC.
Yeah, it would be like Halo 3 ODST or something, where technically I think Bungie did call it ODST DLC. I don't know. It gets in a weird bubble, but I would say that I think for people arming the word DLC to downgrade a studio's hard work is wrong. But you also can't be blind to the fact that it doesn't look much different than the previous game. It does look like they are touching up like already made assets, and that's not necessarily what Mav was saying. It's not really a bad thing with game development. Like not every game can come out like
you can't start from scratch and like erase all your animations and in like design work and
exactly,
you know.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like it wouldn't make sense for them to completely just redo the game just to redo it. You know, you already have the basics that are there. You can improve upon what's already there, right? And maybe improve things that you didn't have time for the first time around. Like there's still a significant amount of work that goes into a game like this. And sometimes when people use the word DLC, it just feels like people can use that to downplay it. But I would say it's fair to say that it doesn't look much different than the first game just from what I've seen. But the studio, like they are a very talented studio, and they're going to push what they couldn't do in the first game, build upon what's already there, like maybe the map system and maybe the combat, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see. I guess
they can add new mechanics to the game. It's not like
yeah, Yep.
Yeah, it's not like they're blocked from doing new content.
Yes.
Or
There will be
anything
new stuff in
like
this
that.
game. It's not going to be like the same game with just like they put different faces on the people and different
Yeah.
words. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is going to be a
Yeah.
big new game, right? And I think people kind of jump to conclusions when somebody says something like that's as prominent as Jaffe, right? It's like easy to like go and like, oh, look what he did, look what he said. You know what I mean? He's an X-bot now. You know what I mean? He used to make our games. Now he hates them. You know, and then they go on this rant that holds no validity to it whatsoever, as proven by his tweet. But like, you know, there's a little bit like if you just erase the wordage that's used, like the DLC thing that like upsets people. There's validity to what he says, and it's not a bad thing. And I don't think anybody is saying that's necessarily a bad thing. But I do remember when that gameplay reveal happened, right? Right after the fact, there was a lot of kickback, even from the PlayStation community, about that game, about what they saw, saying like, "Oh, this looks like the same thing," right? There was a lot of disappointment that I saw after that reveal. I don't know, maybe I'm mistaken about that, Fuzzy. Did you catch some of that on social media about some of the big time PlayStation fan base being a little bit disappointed in what they're showing was for God of War?
They were. See, it's weird because it's like there's a group of them that said, "Hey, it doesn't really look much different. It looks like it's a continuation of the story," which is fine. That it's not going to be any less enjoyable. But I think there's a certain segment that are going to be like, "Oh, shut up! You don't know what you're talking about," type of thing. But yet they're the same ones that will say, "Oh, you know, Far Cry 5 and Far Cry 6, it's like Far Cry 5.5." Or it's like, really?
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
So when it's their beloved game, they take offense. When it's not their beloved game, oh, you know, the gloves are off. It's like, oh, Forza Horizon 5 is 4.5. It's like, what? Come on. It's, and I kind of look at it as I'm not a dev in any stretch of the imagination. So as long as I can enjoy the game, I can give to what somebody else thinks it may be or looks like. Like if they think it's DLC, fine. It's not going to prevent me from enjoying the game. It's not going to prevent me from buying the game or any of that. But I think it's kind of like, I wouldn't even say a poison pill thing. It's all right. David Jaffe, prominent figure. He does say some off the cuff stuff.
Yeah,
from time to
he's
time.
very animated and you know,
and he likes being around those circles, and I think we should make that clear. Like he likes being in these sort of situations, and
he kind of thrives off of it.
He finds controversy or makes controversy kind of thing.
Yeah,
but it's just
he's just very blunt.
But yeah, I would say, as someone that enjoyed, you know, God of War 2018, him saying DLC, I don't take offense to it. It's like, first of all, he's a dev, so he's more inclined in that. And the same thing with 3-bit. He's a dev. He's more inclined on telling you. He just told us, it's like, you're going to iterate on your previous make of the game. Some of the stuff, yes, it's going to be reused. It's going to save time. It's going to prevent, you know, a 7-year cycle as opposed to, you know, being able to push out the door in 3 to 5 years type of thing. So I just, I don't know. I know that there was a segment that when they saw their initial unveiling, they didn't scream from the top of their lungs that they were disappointed, but it was kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
But it's still going to be game of the year. It's like, well, yeah, it probably is, but or at least be nominated. But I don't know. I still see it.
I mean, I felt that too. Yeah, like when it was first introduced, I was, I had a similar reaction. I was like, huh. You know, it wasn't like, maybe because it is the second time we are seeing it, and it does look as similar as the first.
Thinking.
I think a lot of people sort of had that reaction. When I think
people were thinking like,
it's because
it's next gen now, right?
Yeah,
there's gonna be this huge leap for God of War, you know, right? And seeing it looks the same you're kind of like, oh. I think they did a better job showcasing Horizon Forbidden West at
But
first.
see, even that had like backlash because they used the same like jump off cliff animation, and people were like, "Look, it's the same game."
That's
whatever.
just stupid. Like a console war idiots out there trying to like capture stuff. Like you're not gonna recreate everything new for every single
Yeah.
game that you make. Period. Right? Because
Right.
that's like a lot of work that you put into it. You're not just gonna throw that work away. Right?
That's why I was like,
it's like
I was thinking like back in the 360 days, like we had a point where every game like in 1 year was like either a 2 or a 3. So I'm like, and like during that time it's like, oh, all the games are kind of the same because we get another version of the same game or whatever. So I think like at this point we're getting the second version or the third version of a game, and it's just like a natural cycle that we see in game development before like they just redo the whole franchise or something.
Yeah, it used to be the motto, like Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. Each one gets a little bit better graphics. You know, they add more to it, right? But it's like you can tell it's built on the same tech. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of the same assets, a lot of the same animations, a lot of the same things. But then, hey, it's one of the best trilogies of all time, right?
It allows the devs to put the time in other areas like the story, or again things that they didn't get to do in the first game. Maybe there are gameplay mechanics they weren't able to do the first time around. They ran out of time. And I think with God of War, it's a little weird with the whole DLC thing because technically it was going to be DLC, but then but I also don't like when people use DLC to like arm like a console war. And it also, I don't like when people
just
do that
released
to
an entire
downgrade.
game based off one of their DLCs.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and people love it. You know, and here's the other thing too, right? Like you look back at like Obsidian's history before. They made sequels based on existing tech. That's what their job was, right? They made Neverwinter Nights 2 for BioWare, and it released a couple years after Neverwinter Nights came out. They make Knights of the Old Republic 2 after BioWare, right? They make Fallout New Vegas, which I believe released 1 or 2 years after Fallout 3, right? Then they go and, I mean, they just kept, that was just their motto. That's just like their MO of what they did. But the thing about it was all those games were great, and some of them were some of the most beloved in the history, but they built that using what was provided to them with the tools and everything of the existing game. They didn't like go and start from scratch and build something brand new. And that's also how like games like Call of Duty and a lot of these other games operate, right? So if you do start from scratch each time, it's going to take a really long time to get a game out. That's one of the reasons why it's taken so long for Xbox to get so many of these first party games out, because they are starting from scratch on so many franchises now, right? They had this long window where they didn't really have anything, right? And people now are like, where's the games? Where's the games? Well, they're all announced. They're all coming, but they don't have these existing builds and assets to get this pipeline going like they wanted to, right? Because they already made their mistakes in the past. But once these games come out, they're going to have these existing engines with these existing builds, and you can get sequels and stuff out more frequently if that's what they choose to do. And some people are for that, some people are against it. Some people want people to start from scratch or build something completely unique every single time. But some franchises, guess what? They're so big and so beloved that you're not just going to waste all your existing stuff and just do away with it when it sold like 20 plus million copies right away. You have a treasure trove there. You're going to use it. You're going to make something new with that and then see how it does and then move on from there. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But that's also, again, 2022. I think you can, I'm not going to say like I'm 100%, you're right, because anything can happen, but there's no reason for me to say 2023 other than just people out there are saying it, right? And I think it's just talk, but as far as we know right now, the last that we've heard from the devs is holiday 2022.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to go on.
I do believe it's going to be 2022, but my worry has nothing to do with the game itself. It's actually them changing directors. It's like a little thing, like Corey is no longer involved, right? And I love the original God of War trilogy. I think the the boss fights in that were like very epic.
The puzzles too were like
the
so much better.
puzzles.
Yeah.
They didn't treat you like you were dumb. You really had to fight for a lot of those original puzzles and bosses. So I want that feeling a little bit. I want that feeling again. I didn't get that as much with the 2018 one, as much as I rate that game at 10. So the second time around, I'm sure it's probably going to get like another 10 because they have a really amazing basis there. But we'll see what they end up doing with it. I think with a new director, what they did with the original trilogy was they kept changing directors to keep it like have a fresh take for each game and sort of take the franchise in a different direction. So maybe it'll have some of those things that people are looking for in these trailers. Like a lot of people like, it looks more of the same. Maybe having a new director would be that, difference that people are looking for. We just don't know. We got to see more, I guess, trailers, more gameplay of it, and see how they do.
Yeah, and we'll see more of God of War 2018 too.
Yeah.
1 point. I'm just kidding. All right. So, hey, other news, guys, just happened today. Actually, well, not really, because Jeff Grubb already kind of leaked this on his like Grub Snacks, or I forget the list he dumped it on. But I guess tomorrow we're getting some kind of World of Warcraft news, and it's been a while, as Jasper was saying before. It's been a while since we've had any kind of World of Warcraft news. You're saying that you're thinking it's just expansion pass, a new expansion coming?
If you look at the previous like expansion release dates, it's every 2 years. Last one was 2020, so 2022. This is new expansion, and they even said it in their Twitter post. Expansion reveal tomorrow, so
yeah,
there could be more, but
what do you think?
I think
the
it's just
May
an expansion,
because they went on and said more news coming May. So what do you think the May stuff
was?
be?
It World of Warcraft news they say coming in May, or was it just Blizzard say
World of Warcraft? Because I think it was from Micah Barra. Let me see Micah Barra's post here. He says, tomorrow the Warcraft team at Blizzard plans to discuss the future of Warcraft. We're excited to show you what we've been working on and where your adventures in Azeroth will go next. Next month, in May, even more exciting Warcraft news on the way.
The next month stuff could be weird. Yeah, it's interesting.
It's weird that, I don't know. He better not be saying that, and it's like a tabletop game.
Or, I mean, it could just be them reveal the trailer tomorrow for the expansion, and then in May they have like a full like 30-minute like press conversation about like this is what's going to take place in the expansion and stuff like that.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Jasper's side because it just makes sense as the lore master states. But I know they also been teasing like a port for years, so I'm wondering if this is when they want to do it. Yeah, I mean, I know people are going to think about that whole Xbox and Activision thing, but that's not going to happen right away.
Have any
and
effect on this. Yeah.
That won't have any effect on this. They have to act as if they were independent, business as usual. So it's possible they could have a port for like the Xbox and PlayStation and stuff like that, but I don't really know. I'm on the cautious side, and maybe Jasper is affecting me of it being just an expansion or something. But what do you guys think?
I don't know, Fuzzy. What about you? You think this is going to be more than just an expansion?
I would like for it to be more than an expansion because they've been kind of buzzing about Blizzard stuff throughout the year, whether it's the survival game or more stuff about Overwatch 2 and things like that. So the expansion is kind of like the given aspect, but Blizzard's always kind of dropped another nugget at some of their unveilings and things like that. They're like, oh, by the way, this comes to mobile, and piss people off or something like that. But
sneak it in there.
Phone?
But I'm hoping that there's a little bit more than just the expansion aspect. Maybe they announce, like you guys kind of hinted to, that it's coming to console, and then May will be the full details along with gameplay of the expansion and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
so
see,
hopefully it's something like that.
I just
They
looked
tweeted out
more on their website
5
and
hours
so-
ago. They tweeted out 5 hours ago. Expansion reveal tomorrow 9 a.m. Pacific time. So that tells me it's just going to be a trailer, and then in May you'll have your like extended press conversation about that.
Yeah, so
expansion.
I just been doing some more
yeah.
digging, so I will look it on their website. Okay. All right, this is what it says. So this is not going to be exciting. But I'll still chime in with a little bit of hypothesis after. Geez, what is this? Where I lost it. Okay. Oh yeah, on April 19th, the World of Warcraft development team will reveal the next expansion. We're excited to show you what we've been working on and where your adventures in Azeroth will go next. Okay, so then I scroll down. Scrolling down, and then at the end of this post, it says "In bloom for May." So this is the May news. Beyond World of Warcraft and Hearthstone, we're preparing to get the first game in the Warcraft universe designed for mobile into your hands. We will tell you about it. We will tell you more about it in May. So it's clearly obvious that he left that aspect out on the tweet, right? But on the website, you can say it clearly says we'll tell you more about it in May for the mobile, a new mobile Warcraft game. So there's a new mobile Warcraft game that's going to be announced in May, and until then, we have a new expansion. Now, here's where I'm going to get a little bit sideways on this, okay? Because the rumors of Warcraft coming to console predate any Activision Blizzard Activision talk, right? Acquisition talk. The rumors of this predate that because I guess in one of the game updates there was actually controller support added to World of Warcraft.
See, that doesn't do anything for me though, because that's just an accessibility option.
Yes, it is, but it also makes it easy to port because they've already done the work as far as that goes, right? So if they were to try and rebuild the player base, maybe releasing it on console would be an option for them and something they have already discussed potentially with Xbox prior to the acquisition. If that is the case, there still could be some potential news coming, and that would be the big surprise, and they wouldn't let that slip before the reveal. So,
but see, like, I think maybe it's just me coming from a perspective of I've played a lot of PC games and like they've had controller support, but they never come to console. So it's like, I think to me, it's just an accessibility option, and that's all that is. That's
but
the only
if you
thing
were to do it, it would be in line with an expansion.
And I would say look at the history maybe of Diablo, because that came to console. I think they add controller support for Diablo, then they did the console version, right? Or am I wrong?
I don't know the order in which it took place. But
yeah, I don't know either. I don't want to say don't quote me on that, but I was just wondering.
Welcome to the show, Psychonauts. How are you doing,
Hey, Psycho?
Well, hello. I heard Warcraft, so I had to hop in.
Yeah. So you're a big
Warcraft.
Warcraft.
Gonna rant about God of War?
Yeah, I'm no. I'm not gonna talk about that DLC. No, just kidding. No, I like World of Warcraft. I used to play it quite a bit when I was younger, and I kind of lost touch with it after what was it? After Cataclysm. I think it was was it the Return of the Lich King, and then the Pandas. The Pandas really kind of turned me off. I forget.
You weren't into the Pandas?
No, man. I mean, I tried it and I was like, nope. I mean, it was cool that it was a new style. There were monks, but
new character you could play as.
Yeah, it was all right. It wasn't my forte.
He's not on this podcast.
He's probably working at GameStop right now. But no, yeah, I was really excited to hear that there's going to be something tomorrow. So I can't wait to see what they're going to reveal. If it's just a trailer, I mean, that's kind of cool, but also you kind of wish it was something different as well. But, you
Well,
know,
it could
mean,
be
I
I
never-
mean, it could be a huge step up for World of Warcraft too. I mean, they may be taking a leap. You think? You know, it might be time.
it now if they announce that they're going back to like the original World of Warcraft and like but brand new coat of paint, they updated
They
the
did that.
resolution. I mean, like really updated it. All right.
When is the
Like,
biggest? When is the last update like they've had like as a huge leap? Has it been like 10 years, 5 years, or?
Well, the last big thing they did was they remade the old like 1.0 version and re-released that.
Right.
That's pretty much like the last big thing they did.
Was that what it was? I thought that was I thought the last release that they had was the Lich King. That was
No, I
was
do
after
remember they
Burning
like
Crusades.
redid a lot of the original because a lot of people
like I
were
said,
taking
it's
the
been a while.
original. I mean, I know, yeah, I've never played it, but I've always
Yeah.
kept
Shadowlands was the
tabs
last
on the game.
expansion that came out in
Yeah.
2020.
And until
Yeah,
then,
that was
enjoy,
not good.
If you're enjoying, you hope you're enjoying Eternity's End, the newest content update and final chapter of the Shadowlands saga. So
Mm.
that's
And-
what's
and
left right now.
I know
So-
there was the original Warcraft, and then they basically redid a portion of it or something because Blizzard didn't want people playing on modded servers or something like that. That's what I know. But sorry to cut you up. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know. It depends on how they go, what they're going to release. You know, with this, in May, as Mav said, if this is just a trailer in May, they have like their when is BlizzCon? Do we remember?
That's not until the fall, I believe.
Is it fall?
Yeah. Well,
So
but they've already
anything
said on this that
towards-
we saw it's about the mobile game coming out in May on their website. So you might have missed that as you're joining in, but like on their website, it says that they're excited to show the first mobile game being made in the Warcraft universe in May.
Nah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking. Like maybe it's a slight possibility. You know, that would be big news, right? If you want to generate like a lot of hype, because there's already been like 1,000 expansions for World of Warcraft. It seems like
Yeah.
like people are just kind of like, oh, cool. This one has elves in it. This one has this in it. This one has pandas in it. You know, whatever. I think that like something big changing coming to a new audience.
They just put out a release where you could play as any like Legion and do any quests or something like that. You could play as the Horde or the Alliance and like make any character or something like that. You didn't have to like lock into that like path. I remember they put that out.
Okay. Yeah, because the last, I mean, the last real expansion that got me excited, that we're great with the Burning Crusade, Lich King. Was it the Witch King? It was a Witch King or Lich King?
Lich.
Probably Lynch. Yeah.
Lynch King. So Lynch King, and
Not
then
Lich. Lich.
Lich, whatever. Yeah, Lich King, and then Cataclysm. I think that was the last real holy shit type moment in their
That was like
expansions.
2010.
Yeah, and then just kind of gone down. So, you know, and then they went back to the Lich King, but I have since then. I just, like I said, I haven't really gotten into WoW. They haven't really done anything. So it was like, holy crap, I need to get back in here. Like, I don't know if you guys saw I don't know if it was Jasper that mentioned it or Pong, but someone was actually had it on was it UE5?
Wasn't me.
What do you mean?
Somebody updated the graphics using UE5 World of Warcraft, and it looked freaking crazy. I was like, holy crap. Now if they did something like an update like that to all the expansions, then that's a big undertaking to do, because that's a lot of content. But holy crap, I mean, if they just slowly did each expansion up until I mean, Shadow was kind of lame. So I was like even like diehards were like, really? the frick is it? What are you giving us here, Blizzard?
Yeah, I mean, I've never played World of Warcraft like that. I played it for maybe like 5 seconds just because of the Leroy Jenkins. whole
Leroy
ordeal.
Jenkins.
Yeah, I
thought
just
it
didn't
was
want
like-
to pay $10 a month to play it, so I never played it.
Yeah, because
same.
you could what I think it was like level up to 20, and then after that
and
you
then
have to
after
pay.
that, you have to pay. Yeah.
So I have so many level 20 characters.
So
I was like, I'm playing
imagine
for free.
it comes to Game Pass, then
Oh my
I would
god,
play.
that will when that day comes, that will be huge.
Yeah.
And that will be amazing if they WoW for PC and with PC Game Pass. So many people. I mean, I think they got what at least 1 million concurrent subscribers right now, still, which is it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you roll into Game Pass, how many more people will jump into WoW now that are like, we don't want to pay an extra $10, but if you're already paying for Game Pass, people are like, well, shit, and if they come out and say, hey, we're updating graphics or we're updating this and whatever tomorrow's announcement is, if it's, if they're finishing the expansion and like coming to a crescendo with and then who knows what they're going to go from there. Awesome. And I think BlizzCon will be the announcement for it's coming to console, because it's just after
Yeah, they would say
E3.
that for their event.
Yeah, because that'd be huge. And if it does, holy crap, you got all those people and you roll that into Xbox Game Pass. Holy shit. Yeah, you're gonna get so many concurrent players and then getting all the microtransactions that they do. I mean, you wouldn't care at that point, of course, because you're not really paying for the game, or that additional subscription. So it's a win for Blizzard and for the gamers. So it definitely something to look forward to tomorrow. See what they have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm excited to see what it is. I mean, I'm not going to ever be interested in it unless it comes to console. Just to be honest, like,
Yeah.
I
It was
just don't play
it was,
PC games, really too much. So
No, it was interesting when I think you just mentioned it that they started using controller. They gave controller accessibility. So that right there is a step towards, okay, well, if they're doing controller for PC, what's stopping them from bringing on to Xbox or bringing,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
mhm.
So I
Don't
don't.
some games work like the keyboard and mouse works on the Xbox?
Yeah.
Am I wrong about that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Call of
they
Duty,
could-
Fortnite.
Yeah,
several
and
games
I'm
work like that.
hoping like what they would do is make that an option as well. But like it needs to have the option for controller. If you're bringing it to console, like if you just only have keyboard and mouse support, games can be dead in the water, right? Like you got to have console controller support on a console, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, there's other people who think opposite. I just think you're really limiting the amount of audience.
Yeah,
that
I
you
would go
could
the
potentially
opposite.
reach.
I think if they made a specific section in the Xbox store for only mouse and keyboard games, you would get more variety of games. You get all the possible PC games because they wouldn't have to make controller support.
So you think more PC gamers at that point would just start buying Xboxes?
Yeah, because you would just have
That
a,
makes
like
sense.
before you buy the game, you just put a warning like this game only works with mouse and keyboard. Are you sure you want to buy this game? And then yes,
Right. So if
And then
that was the case, then they actually started selling to a PC audience. But I don't know if a PC audience would go for a console over PC because of
Well,
like the limitations with console gaming, with like
it
mods and all that
helps
stuff too.
with people that don't have the money to buy a high-end PC
and aren't
to
as
run
tech
these
savvy.
games that can be. I can just buy a console and I'll just got to do is plug in my mouse and keyboard and I can play
Yeah.
these PC games without spending all these extra money on peripherals.
So is that how like Steam could be eventually implemented or something onto console?
that would be
right.
a huge thing if that happens too, because then you got a lot more people like, hey, I want to play on PC, but I don't have the PC too.
I just got a shitty
Run
laptop,
it. Yeah, exactly. And if you get a $300 Series S that can run these games at 1080p 60, people will be all over that,
Yeah.
because then now you don't have to spend you know, $1,200 for a medium build spec PC. I mean, I already spec'd out a PC to get decent, you know, like 1080p 60 or 1440p. It's about $1,200-$1,300 for if you're going from scratch. You know, it's insane. It's insane.
That's a decent segue talking about basically PCs to Nintendo.
Yeah,
That's
that
a
is a
decent
great.
segue.
That is. Well, I mean, we did mention Steam a little bit, which is a good segue because you know the Steamdeck has started hitting. People have been getting them the last couple weeks, last month or so,
I'm still
and
waiting on my email.
yeah, but it seems like the audience that has received them is loving it, right?
Yeah,
like,
I see that.
Like absolutely, like praising it, like showing lots of pictures, like man, I love this thing. I keep hearing that. It's actually like made me wonder maybe I'll go ahead and get mine and try it out. I don't know. But that aspect is one small thing, but also I feel like Switch sales are starting to kind of level out a little bit, and the consoles are starting to catch up with them, right? Because what I noticed is like there was two things available, right, at Target the other day. There was a lot of Switches available, and there's a lot of Series S's available, right? But then last week, or the same week that I saw this at in the sales charts, like Xbox Series S was, or Xbox had sold more last week than the Switch, right? So even with availability across the board between them, because usually this last 2 years, availability has been the thing that's been kind of capping the sales, right? And I would say like PlayStation right now, sales are capped because of availability. We don't know how much true demand there is for the console until there's plenty available for anybody to buy, right? But we know what the demand is right now for Xbox Series S, at least because there's quite a few of those available. And the last couple weeks has been pretty strong. In fact, topping Nintendo last week, topping Nintendo, and then also in the US, and also topping PlayStation, right? So in last week, they doubled PlayStation sales, and then in the US, and then also slightly achieved over the Switch, which that's with Switch availability. It's not like the Switch was like hard to get a hold of last week. So that kind of like made me think, and I was like looking at this like, well, they're onto something now. Now this week, Switch was back on top, but still by a slim margin. There's like a 15,000 gap in the U.S. So the estimated sales for this past week was 120 in the U.S., 123.8 roughly for the Switch, and the Series X and S 108, and then down there again the PS5 at 65.9. So you're looking at almost a 40. Actually, it's a $43,000. I'm sorry, not 43,000 unit gap again after a 70-something thousand unit gap last week. Again, between the series consoles and the PS5 in the US. And then if you go into Europe, PS5 still holding a slight edge there, but it's only by 2,000, right? So overall, in sales wide, across the world, Series X and S is still 30K more than the PS5. Still not globally up there with the Switch, because Europe and Japan, the Switch is just crazy still.
Yeah.
You know,
it's gonna dominate.
But you know, as far as like the US goes, which is the biggest market as far as these consoles go, right? You're looking at a big tides are changing right now. Okay, I'm starting to see the Switch kind of level off a little bit with their sales. And I don't know if it's either the Steamdeck doing that, the people kind of getting no, probably not, or it's like people kind of getting like tired of, you know, there's really not a lot of exciting new things coming from Nintendo, or maybe it's that people are starting to decide to buy like a Series S, which is the same price as a Switch, instead.
Yeah, I think it's just Pokemon was the last big Switch game that came out, and it was only like a single player game. So there's no reason for multiple people to really buy that unless you just want to play a single player game. And then like the next big family game coming out is Switch Sports. So I would say wait off until you see Switch Sports come out and see if you see increase in Switch
that's
sales
a
coming
real
out.
indicator.
Yeah.
Because that will get a lot of families together and they'll buy multiple Switches to play with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's
the next
really
big
cool.
title after that would be Breath of the Wild, which I think Breath of the Wild 2 has been postponed so far, or hasn't
Yeah,
been
to
announced.
2023.
Yeah, spring of 2023, because they wanted to get out of the if God of War Ragnarok comes out this
Starfield and all those other big
holiday,
games.
Starfield. I mean, that's not the only Xbox game rumored. Forza Motorsports and things like that.
Halo's
So,
going off.
yeah, it's my ringtone.
Is that a sign that Halo's coming out?
Yeah, Halo
DLC?
VR. No, that won't be 3, 4 season 3, 4. But
I think you guys are right. I think those bigger games for this Switch, those will be indicators. Like if they are still sort of low at those points of release, then we'll see if Switch is finally dying off. But to me, it's like, how do you have?
It's not dying. I just think it's leveling. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay, not dying. It's never gonna just completely just go out. I'm sorry. Every time we talk about Nintendo, I have to go on like a Nintendo rant because it's just, how do you have a party console with bad online support?
it's because it's a handheld. It's not a console.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's so crazy to
Local
me.
parties, not online parties.
see, people. I think a lot of people, like kids, are now seeing that they're getting out of that. I got a Switch already. Xbox is bring out all these games that a lot of talks with Starfield, and especially with Halo, when Fortnite, kids have been playing that, and $300, and now it's regularly available, and kids, parents are like, do you want a Series S or a Switch? And kids are like, and they see that Switch panel, what is that, the X screen? Is that what it's called, the X screen?
Oh yeah.
Now that is also like, holy crap, I can have this in the car, play it.
That's what I was thinking. Like the increase in portability for other consoles is increasing, like with the cloud and stuff. So like you don't have to have the Switch as your only portable game console when you travel.
And a lot of cars, if you got a new car, a lot of them have hotspots. Or if you have a phone, if a kid, but nowadays kids have phones, they can just turn on their mobile phone for a hotspot, and boom, they're playing all these games via xCloud with their X screens on their Series S's on vacations and things. So kids are, that is another thing it's that we've seen, like when that X screen became regularly available. I think that's when we kind of started seeing numbers kind of going up, especially now that they're regularly available, because they had a huge allotment of consoles out there right now. Even though yes, there's a bunch on the shelf, but that's because how many they probably ship to each store. They're keep on stocking them. I'm hearing a lot of talk from just from Twitter and on Facebook. I'm just seeing, just bought this for my kid. I just bought this, especially in Japan. You see a lot of, I just picked up a Series S. It's just like, you see a lot more Xbox consoles right now being sold. It's because especially with the Series S, they're like, this thing is so tiny. It's freaking, they're like, I gotta have one just to have it. It's like $300. So it's really, it's smart on Microsoft for having this SKU, and they're just, it's like that Trojan horse that kind of comes in. People like, oh, let me try an Xbox out, and they like it. Holy crap, I'm having a great time. But now the Series X is even better graphically. Let's see what that's going to look like. If people put enough investment, they'll be like, all right, I'll buy this, and they'll give their kid their Series S, and they're gonna get the Series X.
Yeah, you have to think people are thinking about the value of what they are buying when they have a Switch. I mean, I would think that. I mean, every time I think that, then Switch completely blows my mind with how many people buy it. But you have to think at some point people are saying, "Wow, I can get a Series S, and there is no PC that I know of that can do ray tracing at $300 and also have 120 frames per second support on certain games for the Series S, as opposed to that's $300, right? And you get the Switch OLED, which is more than that. It's $349, and you are getting like games that are barely 1080p. I would have to think, and maybe that's just the dev in me, I would have to think that someone out there is seeing that and just going like, wow, I could get better performance on some of these other consoles. Now, Nintendo does have the name recognition, the brand of people love Mario, right? People love these Nintendo characters. And that is what I think is really holding up the brand, is the name recognition of these franchises like Zelda, like Metroid and Mario. But
I just think they're not competing with Xbox and PlayStation. They're in their own market. They're competing to be your number 2 console, not your number 1. So
which
people
is
just buy
freaking
it.
smart of them. But I would also think, I would like to think that a lot of kids are playing online with each other. They are very mobile. They have phones and things like that. And the fact that Nintendo doesn't even have like a proper party chat system, like, oh my gosh! Every time I talk about Nintendo, I start getting like triggered over little things. But like, I do think it's impressive that they are here this long. When was the Switch released? Like
2017, I think.
Yeah.
2017.
Yeah, it's like almost been 5 years.
And then they released a statement not that long ago that they were halfway. And
yeah, and they've already reached 100, and they haven't dropped the price once.
No, they won't.
And they've already
it's Nintendo.
They've hit 106 million consoles. That shows the power of selling a handheld device. It's selling like
how many
handhelds.
of those are yours? You bought like 10 of them and then sold them.
I've bought 5 and sold them all. But like it does go to show the power of having a handheld, right?
Yeah.
Like now the Wii sold really well also, but not like this. Like this is like
a different appeal. It was more like for the family household. It's like, oh, everybody get up and play virtual bowling kind of thing.
Yeah.
Even old people can do it.
But the
I still see Wii's in hospitals.
Yeah.
No, but the Switch is definitely like kind of like what 3-Bit was saying. It's that second console. But I kind of think Xbox, with that price point at the 300, they really push for being that second console as well, because you'll see not maybe the most toxic of PlayStation fanboys, but you'll see some PlayStation fans like, yeah, I picked it up, and yeah, I can't pass up Game Pass or whatever. Or it's like, oh yeah, I can play these other games while I wait for God of War to come out or something like that. But it makes great for a second console or for like the household console. Just put Game Pass on it. It's like access to 300 plus games. Yeah, you don't own them, but like perfect example, my kids before, it's like I was buying $30 games here and there, like what's that fall game, and not Fall Guys, but Humans Fall Flat, and all these like $30 to $40 games, and it's like 2 weeks later, it luckily it's digital, because otherwise it'd be just collecting dust on their bookshelf or something, because they play it for 2 weeks and they moved on. It's like, wait, what? Did you even beat it? No, we're on to this now. It's like,
that's why Game Pass is so phenomenal.
Exactly.
The Switch has already outsold the Wii. The Wii sold globally 101.64 estimated, and the Switch is at 106.75.
Because you just said about Xbox also competing, like I think you make a point there, because like the Series X is if you want to have the number 1 console, you get the Series X, but if you just want to have like compete with the number 2 competitor, you just get the Series S. So they're like hitting both markets. They're competing to be your number 1 or your number 2, depending on your choice.
Yeah, the thing that Nintendo still has going for it, which is why I keep saying it's a handheld, is that it's also competing against nobody else, right? it's in its own lane because it's the only real handheld gaming device out there that's like a mass consumer device, right?
And that's why to me, Switch is to me, I do not consider it a console. It's a handheld that can be docked and played on your TV at a horrible resolution.
Now, if you compare it to other handhelds, a DS has sold 154.9 units. The Game Boy sold 118.69 units. Game Boy Advance 81, 3DS 75.
How well is the Steam Deck doing? Is the question.
Well, about
Steam
5
Deck
people have that.
The Steam Deck is sold out. They just can't produce. The Steam Deck is going to be a niche product, right?
Yeah,
because they're never going to manufacture it on the mass scale like a Nintendo Switch or like an Xbox, but they're always going to meet demand also for it. So I think you're going to see, but where you're going to see is some of the people that are just really into handhelds, you're going to see some going for that over a Switch eventually. I think just for the diehards, is like, I just need a handheld gaming device, right? And it's like, okay, this has these games, this has this games, and then if you're really into like the hardcore shit, you can like emulate, the Nintendo games even on the Steam Deck, right? So for a lot of those people, but the Steam Deck is like, the most expensive one is like $600-700, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a different audience there, right? But I do think the hype around the Steam Deck is having an impact around some people with thinking of their purchase decisions. But more than anything else, if you have a Series S available at a store, it's $300, and you have a Switch that's available at $300, and you go right now and you're trying to make a decision, I think some people are actually choosing the Series S over the Switch. And I think that's gonna continue, especially with the holiday lineup. You got to go play Division 2 Psycho, I see.
Yeah. I just wanted to jump in and talk about the WoW, and I was going to jump in and talk about God of War, but it's all right. It's people know. It is what it is.
Greek mythology is better, by the way.
Yeah,
it is. That's to me. And I'm biased as fuck because I'm Greek, so I'm gonna pick that over Norse all day, every day. So Greek mythology, that was when it was the peak. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I have God of War 2018. I played halfway through it, and I just never. I think, and then what do you call Ghost of Tsushima come out, and that was that. Nothing else mattered on PlayStation when that came out, and I played that for 36 hours straight one night. Yeah, that was like, nope, I had to put that down. I was like, I am not playing this again right now. I'm not going to be playing 36 hours in a row. Fuck that. No, that took my life.
Yeah. Well, have a good one, man. Thanks for hopping in.
Yeah, you guys have a great rest of your show. Chat, rock on. Talk to you guys later. Fun Pop Wednesday, 7:00. See you then.
Yeah, take it easy, man. Have a good one.
Take it easy,
guys.
And now on to the last topic at hand. We lost Psycho, so we don't get to. He's gonna be disappointed because I wanted to pick up on our
fix the overlay.
Oh, do I gotta fix it again? Shit. See, Psycho, look what you're making me do, man. I'm just kidding. What I think he's gonna be disappointed because we picked up on this conversation a little bit on Friday, but I kind of wanted to get back into it. Holiday this year. I mean, Xbox is primed, I think, to increase those numbers that I just talked about, because of the lineup they have coming in the last few months of the year. Also with availability. So I kind of think, man, seeing the way the numbers are, I think the second half of the year, especially the last 3 months, is going to see a huge sway. I wouldn't even, honestly, I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if Xbox doesn't get close to catching up globally with PlayStation by the end of the year.
That's a big ask. I don't know about that.
They're 4 million, they're gaining ground each week right now. We got a long way to go.
They're only 3 million behind. or 4 million?
Yeah, they're like 4 million behind.
That's just in the
globally right
US
now.
though, isn't it?
No, that's
or is that global?
Well, let me look. Hold on, I'm curious. I just posted the numbers. I think
Yeah, the other
globally
markets-
they're only 4 million behind globally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they're gaining ground to like 40,000 to 75,000 a week right now, right? So you're talking about between now's April the 18th, right? So you're talking about April the 18th up until how many weeks is that? Until like let's say November. You know, you're talking about like 7
I
months.
don't want to do the math on that.
Right, 7 months. Okay, so let's just lowball it and say 28 days in a month, which is low, right? That's not accurate, but that's 4 weeks per month. So that would be 7 months times 4 weeks. That's 28, right? 20.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say there's 28 weeks, even though it's more than that. Okay, so 28 weeks, right? Let's say they gained 40,000. Okay, per week. That's just alone in just that's 1.1 mil, right?
Yeah, so you're gonna need another.
But here's
three,
the thing: Xbox
a
is
year and a
doing,
half.
but Xbox is doing this now without any big first-party games. Now think about once September, October, November hits, and then they have Redfall. They have like Scorn comes out. They're gonna have no, Scorn's not first party, but still.
And then their showcase.
They're gonna have the big showcase in June, which catapulted them to huge this past year. You're probably gonna have Forza Motorsport, and you're also going to have Starfield, right? All this holiday, and then people know that when they get the console, they're not gonna have to buy those games. They're just gonna have to get a subscription. So then the cost even gets better, and then the Series S is gonna be readily available. So you're talking about just in potential makeup time between now and then of 1 million consoles. So they only have about 3 million to go. Now, you know that they're making huge availability for the holidays. And plus, because they have it available now, they're just going to be able to stack up upon that, right? So when it comes time to actually have this huge sales push this holiday, I would not be surprised if we see some crazy ass sales numbers of the Series S as one of the #1 Christmas presents this year.
What's crazy is they opted for AMD RDNA 2, right? And initially that hurt them because in the beginning they weren't able to manufacture as much because AMD wasn't ready.
Yeah.
But now AMD is ready. And the fact that PS5 didn't opt for RDNA 2 chips, they chose for custom their own version of RDNA, means it takes longer to manufacture. So now they're behind, even though they were initially ahead. So yeah, I just find that's interesting.
Yeah.
In terms of like the manufacturing problem. But I think Xbox has a very good problem this year. Not only do they have a pretty good manufacturing with AMD, at least with the chips. It's hard to get chips almost everywhere. Let me just state that because of the pandemic. But it seems like they're doing okay. And then they also have a lot of companies and a lot of things they're going to showcase in June. And from the last showcase, if I remember, a lot of people jumped on Xbox right after that showcase. So I'm sure there's going to be something similar with
they almost had a showcase.
True. Yeah. I mean, there was like mini showcases, but
Yeah,
that was still like when I look back at it, that was an incredible showcase from them. So we'll see what they have this year. I know PlayStation is most likely going to have like a state of play, probably for God of War. It seems like they're doing more focused shows, like maybe a showcase for a state of play for like God of War. What else are they coming out with this year?
Forspoken, but it's
Forspoken.
Square is making it for them type of thing.
yeah, it's a third-party exclusive.
So God of War, Forspoken, and then I guess Xbox will have Redfall and Starfield and some other games.
And Motorsports and
Scorn. Yeah, and I'm not trying to be much to the PlayStation. I'm trying to
the Warhammer Darktide game is set for this fall too.
Is that an exclusive or just Game Pass?
Yes.
That's in
That's
Game
it.
Pass, and I
Timed
think
exclusive,
it's a
right?
timed
Timed
exclusive.
and
I'm not
Game
sure.
Pass, yeah.
Yes.
It's just
And then the Halo.
there's just I'm not saying
PS5.
okay, like if PlayStation gets their availability sorted out, that's off the table, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm seeing now is that PlayStation is capped at their sales because they can't make any more, right? Xbox has found a way around that by having the Series S, right? That was smart thinking of them, I guess. Just got lucky with that decision or whatever it is, but that decision has catapulted them into a position to be able to sell a crap ton of consoles and make availability a little bit better, right? Because they're doing these sales numbers and there's still extra consoles out there available, right? So we're gonna I think see that increase when the first. I mean, anybody knows that the holiday lineups usually sell games and consoles more, right? Especially with the holidays, that's just when consoles sell usually. So when that comes out like this holiday season, and you got Starfield, and you got Redfall, you got Forza Motorsport, which those games probably would have released already, going from like September into November, and then November time is when people buy Christmas presents and all that kind of stuff, Man, I think you're gonna see some crazy ass numbers, dude. And now, will it 100% pass them up or whatever? I don't know. I think if anything, that gap will have shrunk significantly between like the 4 million, 4 to 5 million it is now, down to like within one potentially, right? Unless PlayStation's like hoarding warehouses full of PlayStation 5s ready to drop this holiday.
Well, they're not hoarding it. Scalpers are hoarding the warehouses of PlayStation
too,
5.
right? But I'm curious.
Basements.
Yeah, the thing is interesting too is like Xbox's approach is like they don't necessarily like even like they're not. They obviously want to sell the console, right? But it's not their end all be all, right? So it's interesting that Xbox is still doing this without that being their like primary objective, because their primary objective is Game Pass, which you can have a PC, mobile, and console. So it hasn't seemed that where people said, "Oh, don't give it no reason to buy an Xbox." Then you know what I mean?
Here at Microsoft, we're a software company. we believe in software,
right?
Oh, Bill Gates.
It just seems like a lot of people are like, "Well, there's no reason to even buy an Xbox because you can play the games anywhere else." But like, they're still selling more than PlayStations right now.
Yeah.
And some people just prefer playing on a console. Like I have a very powerful PC and I don't like using my PC for games. It's just a preference thing for a lot of people.
Yeah, you have a freaking like the best kind of gaming PC you can get right now and you don't even game on it.
Yeah. And it's just like a preference thing. Like, especially it's a lot easier to play with friends and stuff on consoles too. Like you sit down, you're in the living room, everyone has their own individual controllers. Like what you can do with a computer, you bring your big desktop, everyone hooks up their USB.
Yeah, it's called a LAN party.
This is a lot harder, right? It's just less, and some games don't even really support it for PCs. So you have to figure out which game supports it. And consoles, it usually will just work. That's just one scenario why someone would choose a console over PC. But because I see so many people say who have probably $1,000 PCs apparently because they say that they don't need an Xbox because they have a master race PC or a PlayStation in their case. So I don't know.
Mine is just my libraries on Xbox. I've had it since the original, and it's just like thousands of games that it would be hundreds of thousands of dollars for me to try to replace that on anything else. So it's like at this point I'm stuck with Xbox. Like I'm not leaving it until they go under.
But they also make it where you have access to that library too on your new device, right? So
I like
if they cut you off themselves, then it would be an easier decision.
Yeah, some of the titles once you buy them on PC, you have them on Xbox or vice versa. Like I bought Flight Sim on PC and automatically owned it on Xbox as well.
Yeah.
But like my PC is mainly my mod box. So like Flight Sim I'll play with like totally different skins that you can't get for some of the airplanes, like the real American Airlines and things like that. And I'll have like my whole fleet of planes like that for that. Same thing with like not Gran Turismo, Grand Theft Auto, where pretty much the only way I play is the modded version now on PC.
Yeah, some of the
where-
servers are awesome.
Yeah, it's like you could either do your own server. I mainly do this just the single player and have like I
Like
have
run
the
around as
casino
Hulk or
active. I
something.
have the mod garage is active. I have basically everything that's online active in the single player. It's just that it's not other players in it. It's just the NPCs and stuff. But it's like as if I'm in my own private server kind of thing. But yeah, and then BMG Drive, which it would be great if they have it come to console, but Wreckfest is about the closest thing to that. But
yeah, and there's been PC build. I really challenge people to look at this. There's been build challenges for PCs to try and build a PC underneath the console prices for PS5 and Series X. Try to build a console or try to build a PC underneath that $500 and see if you have the same performance. And usually it's no.
Or how
It's
about
not a
that?
thing.
How about $300 for Series S? Try and build a PC for less than $300 and get
It's because the graphics cards right now are $1,000 a pop.
This
you're already
alone,
over
right?
budget.
Yeah,
So you're
try-
getting a really good for both PS5 and Series X, and definitely the Series S. You're getting a really good bargain there.
Try and get 1080p 60 frames per second on a PC that you built for less than $300.
Nah.
It's not happening.
My son's PC.
You're gonna have to cut out a graphics card. You have no graphics card.
Were 1,300. But that's only because I wanted to make sure they didn't want ray tracing, but it can do pretty much it does 1080 60, or actually it does 1080 120, no problems, or in some cases like 1080 144 or something. But yeah, you're not touching the price. Not even, you can't even get in some cases the SSD. If you're going to get a terabyte, you're going to almost spend what the console costs. So
Yeah, just the SSD alone.
They're not too bad now if you just get like a SATA one, but NVMs are going to be pricey.
yeah.
So
Man.
I don't want to hear that whole nonsense. Like I hear that all the time. People are just like, I don't need an Xbox. I could just play it on my PC. And then you ask them what their specs are, and it's like $2,000 PC or something, or they just don't have a PC and they just like to say, I don't need this console. But the thing is, these consoles are really good deals for people, and the value proposition for people, like let's take it out the fanboyness, right? It's pretty good. Like Microsoft is pretty, they're actually trying to innovate in certain areas, making game like more accessible to even disabled gamers. I know a lot of people who are disabled and they're able to jump into Xbox because of what the programs that Microsoft is providing to people, like the controllers and even like this accessibility options, like stuff like that matters. And then on top of that, you're providing like something in Game Pass where you're able to play all these games for just like a subscription price. Like that's amazing for a lot of people. So yeah.
Interesting.
This
All right.
holiday, Xbox definitely, if all the cards line up and PlayStation doesn't figure out how to make more chips or make more PS5s, it's going to be a pretty big holiday for Xbox again.
That's what I'm getting at. I mean, regardless of the sales aspect of it, it's like mind share, right? And like how much of a global front brand it is for the casual gamer, and are they going to go ahead and pick up an Xbox, or are they going to keep waiting for a PS5, right? And I think the more games that come out, and the more they see this stuff, and the more available it is, it's going to be harder and harder for them to make that decision and pass up on that, and then try it out, and then maybe get a second console. You know,
that goes to the thing where like, do the casuals understand that Xbox has bought their favorite Call of Duty game? Like,
well,
I don't know if the casuals do the casuals know that yet. Like,
not yet,
that
but
could be like a 2-year thing that we have to wait and see.
Once that news goes down, it's an official. It'll be everywhere, right? It'll be marketed heavily by Xbox, by Activision, Game Pass. You'll see Game Pass commercials, Call of Duty in Game Pass, right?
Yeah,
like all of this stuff, and that's a whole nother thing, right? We're already talking about this stuff before that, right? So going into like that whole summer showcase they have, they're going to lay the groundwork probably for games that are coming out next year and the next as well, right? So we already have the strong holiday this year, and then they're going to have the 2023 and 2024, and all of this stuff is going to be very front facing right before this holiday season. I just think that it's like people like kind of pick apart certain aspects of Xbox and like focus on a lot of negative things like Halo Infinite, where's the content, that kind of stuff. It's like all people want to talk about a lot of times. But
Yeah,
they're not really looking at the
like
long term like aspects of everything that's going on right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just like think like if you just like walked up to a random dude in the street, like, hey, you want an Xbox or a PlayStation? Like, I feel like most people are gonna say
They're
PlayStation
gonna
because
say
that's the name
PlayStation.
brand.
Yeah, I
That's-
agree, but they can't buy one right now. You know what I mean? And then they got an Xbox in the store that's $300, and then they're gonna see this new game that was revealed in June, and then they're gonna see Starfield, and they're gonna see $300 console on the shelf, right? And at some point, it's just gonna get to the point. I think more and more people are just gonna say like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try,
Yeah.
And that's
Just
the
imagine
catch.
all of the Call of Duties just jumping into Game Pass. Like that would be,
Yeah.
that's gonna be insane. Like that commercials, or they're just gonna list all the titles. Call of Duty 1,
Like,
2, 3, 4,
They
all
don't
in Game
sell those
Pass.
old Call of Duties very cheap, right? You can go
yeah,
back
they're like
and like
$15, $20.
Still full price on
no, some of them are like Call of Duty Ghosts just like $40, $50 or something.
Yeah.
Like you go through like this list of games, like they have this Activision sale going on right now, and the games are on sale. A lot of them are $40 for like older Call of Duties still. Like there's a lot of people that are fans of specific ones, and they're like, oh, cool, it's gonna be in Game Pass. Like, and if you're making a jump, right? Imagine the benefit. Okay, you're making a jump from PlayStation to like Xbox, or you're making a jump for whatever. And you're like, okay, well, shit, I have my whole library on that. That's what I keep getting. But
Game
instantly,
Pass recovers that.
right? Exactly. You have an automatic library, right? There's not like, oh shit, I'll have nothing to play. I have to start from scratch. Like you're gonna come in right away and you have a library. Like you don't have to buy a game. You can buy an Xbox and have endless amounts of stuff to play for the entire year and not have to buy one game. Now, I just recently did my taxes, so I spent over $2,000 last year on games. That's on top
What's in
of
your taxes.
Well, hey, fun speculation, right? No, I figured it out. Like I was adding it up. I spent over $2,000 in the last 12 months on games, right? And that's on top of my Game Pass Ultimate subscription. But I didn't buy any of the Xbox first party games, right?
Yeah.
So my spending is actually a little down, but I bought a bunch of other stuff I normally wouldn't have bought. Like, and I think that it's going to add up for people over time. And to show, hey, people, Game Pass subscribers still do spend money on games, right? Like, I know all of us have bought several games.
Yeah, I buy a lot more like kind of like third party, like
Yeah.
smaller games like Alien Isolation. I probably wouldn't have bought that, but like since I don't have to buy like Xbox games all the time now, like
I got a huge
like that
catalog of those kind of games. Like I played and I haven't gone back to now. Aliens Fireteam Elite. I wonder how it's doing right now.
Yeah,
I
that's
go
what I
back
meant.
and check it out. Yeah,
I heard there was some like updates to that game too.
Yeah, Second Extinction. I love Second Extinction. Like I'm one of the few that like was praising it like when it released because I actually like it, but I haven't played it since like a month after it came out. I'm curious what the hell's going on with it right now. Is it dead? Is there people still playing it? Is there new content? I don't know. I might go back
Too
and
many
check it
games.
out. But like, yeah, there's so many games to play. I don't know. I just think that I think the landscape's changing right now, right? I think it's obviously PlayStation is still number one name, like as far as console gaming. Nintendo is like the number one name in like family video games.
Yeah, you ask your mom, you'd be like, "Oh, the old Nintendo box."
Yeah, exactly. And it's a safe choice for parents to get for their kids, and they know they're going to be able to have it in their car, in the back seat.
Shut the whining kid up for a minute.
It's like an iPad or a Switch. You get the kid one or the two. The parents are like, oh, I don't buy my kids an iPad. Your kid's got a Switch, to be honest, right? It's like one of the two. Xbox doesn't have that. PlayStation doesn't have that right now, but they got very strong consoles, and it seems like unless PlayStation fixes this availability thing, last generation was a one-off as far as the dominance goes, right? The 360 was doing great numbers before.
See, but like the 360 thing, it kind of reminds me like, did the 360 sell so well because it had so many red rings that people just had to buy like 5 consoles? Like that's what I did. I bought
no, I
5
don't think
360s.
they counted the warranty exchanges as a sell.
Well, sometimes it was like I can pay like $100 to send this shit back, or I can just go get another 360 and get it today instead of waiting 3 weeks. So it's like,
You said you didn't, yeah. So like when I had the red rings, like I never had to pay anything because
some of them I had to pay for, and then some of it was after it, and it's just
okay, yeah. I never had to pay. I did it 3 times. I sent consoles in 3 times.
Yeah, I had red rings once. That was an interesting generation for sure, because a lot of people, if you think about that generation, a lot of people really liked the 360. It had party chat. PS3 didn't have party chat. I know it's weird to think about, but PlayStation 3 didn't have party chat.
it was also down for 6 months.
It was down for 6 months, had so
after
many
that.
issues. And it wasn't till the end of its life cycle where the PlayStation finally caught up. Now, PlayStation's name is so powerful. The brand is so significant with a lot of people, even like the casual gamers, right? There are a lot of people in my work where they're just like, yeah, PlayStation, and even they are starting to come around and be like, okay, what is Xbox doing over? They're starting to get it within their messaging, but PlayStation is such a powerful name and brand with a lot of people that it's carrying. I feel like it's going to carry its life for a bit, but to what extent, I don't know. Are they just going to dominate?
Not unless they can get some
dominate
damn
again?
chips out there. If they had the chips out
But
there,
we'll see.
then that's. I mean, if they can get the consoles out, it's just they're capped right now. I don't know. Maybe this holiday they'll figure that out. And I don't think it's a detriment to the brand. I mean, I think they're doing fine. You know what I mean?
Also sucks because PlayStation uses more material to like produce the actual console, like because
Right.
it's a lot larger, and that's a big problem right now is material shortage. So
well, that plus also I think they like what Psycho was saying on the show. Yes, I guess like the chips, like they have lower yields on them, and like on the Series S, the Series S is the magic thing because you can produce 2 of those supposedly for every 1 Series X, right? Because of the chips, and chip shortages are the main barrier right now, and also other material, right? But Xbox has made it a point to figure that out, and you see the result on the shelves. And people say, "Well, they're only available because nobody wants them." Well, then they wouldn't be like selling more, But they're selling, right? So the numbers are positive, across the board. So,
and the thing that's funny about the people don't want them. Well, then it's a problem then if Sony has all these people wanting stuff and they can't deliver. I mean, that's like business 101. You can't not have the product on the shelf. They had a 6-month, I think it was like a 6-month jump as far as manufacturing. So with them not going for the RDNA 2, it gave them a slight lead, but it looks like that lead is gone now as far as that 6-month jump where they could have flooded the market, and it looks like the scalpers kind of kicked them in the teeth on that one. Yes, they still have the lead on those consoles, but there's also, I think they said a quarter of those PS5s haven't even been turned on. So
I saw that
also
article
something.
somewhere. It's
sitting in someone's house waiting to be sold on eBay.
Yeah, that was actually interesting. It was saying like, yes, a large majority of PS5s have been sold, but only like 10% haven't been used, and 10% of like how many has sold so far? Like a couple million,
I think they're at like
million?
17 or 18 mil right now.
17 million. So
it's almost 2 mil.
That's crazy. That's so how many scalpers are out there possibly doing, or maybe people just buy it and just keep selling it and just keep selling it,
Or there's no games to play on the PlayStation 5.
There's no games. No, it's insane. It is insane. So we'll see. We'll see if the shortage like the chip shortages, if they find a way to come around that problem, we'll see if they maintain a huge lead over Xbox, or if Xbox just bolsters their presentation this year and they keep pushing Game Pass and all of the companies they have now, if they just start doing this sort
Flexing
of
their
ripple
muscles,
effect.
yeah.
And we know they're gonna have a ripple effect of a bunch of games. Me, Mav, we always talk about like when that starts, it's not gonna end.
Yeah.
Because they have so many companies. It's just a matter of when it does that start. And when it does start, how much are they gonna potentially lead PlayStation, or is PlayStation's name so significant with people that it will, you know, will they stay in the lead? I don't know. It's hard to tell because every generation is kind of different. I don't treat past generations as like, oh yeah, PS4 won last generation, so that means PS5 is that. If PS5 is going to win, I don't think it works like that. I think every generation is
Historically,
different.
it's always
sort
been
of
a
like
flip each time kind of thing.
yeah. So far, historically, it has been a flip. So we'll see if it's a flip again.
I mean, regardless, we know the gap's closing and it's going to close even more, right? I just think that's like kind of, I think it's inevitable because I don't see a way around that. Like, I just honestly can't.
This is the second month, right? This is the second month where Series X has been in the lead.
Several weeks in a row, I think. You know, because this is weekly sales, and that's doing well for even just for a week. You know, I mean, in the April when there's really no big games dropping or anything like that either. You know, so I mean, you're talking about almost this last week they did more than the Switch, and this past week they did just a little bit less. I mean, their Series consoles are selling it just about as well as the Switches are right now.
It's crazy.
It's pretty crazy, right?
I'd never seen that coming.
So, I mean, you put that perspective, you equate that out towards the end of the year, and then with everything coming that we know is down the pipeline, plus then you know, okay, what's first quarter 2023, second quarter 2023, and all the reveals we get at E3.
That's just where Microsoft has been lacking, is the spring and summer lineup.
And once they get that cracked, you know, and we don't know, like, is that going to be another year of that, or are they going to have it? Are they going to have that taken care of? But we do know that right now there's a $4.8 million gap, according to VG charts, between the global sales of the Series X and the S and the PS5, whereas they were selling more 2-to-1 at the early part of the generation. The Xbox has already gained a lot of ground. I'm staying by it. I think by the end of this year, there'll be, I'll say, less than a 2 million gap. I'll play it a little safe. I say by the end of this year, there'll be less than a 2 million gap. And I think also by the end of this year, they will be leading in the US.
Okay. We should bet on this. You said less than a million. Or about a million.
Less than 2 million.
Less than 2 million globally.
Less than 2?
And then leading in the US. By the end of this year. So that, like, we won't find out until like January 10th or so, whatever.
I think it's possible.
I think that's fair.
think it's possible.
I'm also going to say that if we are betting.
I'm still iffy on that bet. I wouldn't go all in or anything, but
put in your chips, Jasper. I say about a million. Yeah, I say about a million behind, but leading in global.
Okay, let me see how close it is in the US right now, because all I know is the
I just don't think that I have enough information based on like large companies' logistics that I can actually make.
Well, we're going on BG charts, okay? So like we're just gonna base it on BG charts. So we don't know if the numbers are 100% accurate or not.
1.5
That's what
million.
we're gonna go based on, because that's the one thing we know we can go back and check, right? So right now in the North America, oh yeah, oh my gosh, okay, easy, that's in the bag. 7.72 for PS5, 7.6 for Series X and S.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. I say,
all they got to make up is $100,000. I mean, they're doing that every week, right? They're doing like half of that a week right now in the US. I mean, they're gonna surpass in the US by next month.
Yeah.
So you say December,
Yeah, I'm
the end of
saying
this year?
by the end of this year, they'll be leading in the U.S. and within 2 million globally. That's my
Yeah, I
my
say the
bet.
same. Usually I have an opposite bet of as you just to throw you off, but I think I'm gonna stick with your
I'll,
bet.
I'll throw another variable in here real quick. If the Activision deal is closed, I say they lead it all globally.
Okay.
Hmm.
You think they're gonna make up 5 mil?
I think if the Activision deal, originally I was thinking August, September. It sounded like November, December if it closes this year, this fiscal year, I should say. Yeah, I think they pretty much, especially after the holidays, they'll make up that 5 mil.
Wow. Jasper, do you want to take the opposite? I mean,
See, I'm like the opposite right now because like I just don't understand it. Like maybe Microsoft is like holding out, like maybe they were holding back like 10% of their units for the past year so they could get like a big like extended stretch right now to have like the supply right now to sell when it was like kind of the slow season. I don't know. It's like I'm just like
yeah.
I just don't know
if they're
like
gonna have a shortage again.
Yeah. I don't know if like right now it's just a fluke. Is this going to continue? It's like that's where I'm at.
Fair enough. Well, we'll see. I mean, right now it's like it's been pretty consistent the last several weeks, so I don't know. Maybe they just finally got all those damn things off the boats.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. I don't know. But hey, chat, thank you all. Appreciate you watching this again. New night, new day, new time for FSP. New panel. But much larger panel, you know, and especially when Key comes back. So appreciate you all. Spooky, Fifth Horseman, Papa Woody. Appreciate you hanging out. Fun times, UK lad, Elkdood is here earlier. Yeah, I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Jesse, back from dead. I see you guys. Appreciate you. Now 3-bit. Where can everybody find you, sir?
Everyone can follow me on Twitter's the Bird app at i3bit, and you can catch me on this show and Fun Pop. So I will see you guys on there and occasionally Mavs streams when we're playing
Be here on
games.
Fun Pop this week.
Yeah.
Okay. I look forward to seeing you there. We got lots to talk about. We got to talk about this dude again.
Yeah, I watched that. I haven't watched that episode yet, but I'm gonna watch.
I want to think about should I get some friends for Moon Knight for the backdrop? Or does that be crowded and crazy with like a bunch of weird people?
It's balanced right now, but if they were behind him, maybe like on his shoulders, almost.
For the Batman poster, like is that?
I don't know. I have to see it. What were you thinking?
Well, I could go like Doctor Strange, Batman. You know, there's lots of possibilities.
Maybe Batman behind you, or you want it like near that guy.
I don't know. I could arrange them, and they could all start like having tea around a table or something. I don't know. I had to come up with different scenarios.
Batman would be cool.
The Home Alone thing, you know.
You can get like Iron Man and hang him from the ceiling so it looks like he's flying.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, I really dig that Moon Knight. Oh, maybe like have the Robert Pattinson Batman.
Oh, that's the Batman I saw. That I saw the British Moon Knight version. I had to get it. I mean, the dapper Moon Knight. He's costume. Pretty badass, you know. So
yeah,
anyway,
he's a chat.
Jasper, Lore Master. Where can everybody find you?
Check me out at Lore Jasper on Twitter. The Bird app, as 3-bit calls it. And Lore Master Jasper on YouTube. I just made a Halo Battle Royale kind of like update video thing. Check that out. Fun Pop Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Yeah, 7 p.m. Xbox Ultimate Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern. And FSP on Mondays now, I'm assuming. So
cool. Awesome, man. And Fuzzy Belvedere, where can everybody find you, sir?
Also on the Bird app, Fuzzy_Belvedere, rambling about racing games and shooting games sometimes. On Breakfast with Boom on Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Shop Podcast on Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And here next week on FSP at 6 p.m. Eastern Time.
Yeah, man. And thank you all for joining, and thank you all for watching the show. Appreciate you all. Have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow, or not tomorrow. Tomorrow's Tuesday. See you Wednesday on Fun Pop, Thursday PM in the PM, Friday Xbox Ultimate, and for all the game streams and more. Have a good one. Take it easy. Bye-bye.